welcome to 1111 Tarot. I hope you are well. Actually, it's 1111 True Crime now. So, welcome everybody. We're going to go into part 4 of the Stephen Avery filing. And this was filed by his post-conviction lawyer, Kathleen Zellner. So, we're going to do that together. And we only have 7 pages left, so it might not be that long of a read. I do want to send a shout out. Lucky, want to send a shout out? Lucky sending one out for Sassy's son, who has a fractured tibia from playing his game. So we send Sassy, your son, all kinds of healing energy. Hi, Nettie. Hi, Interior Family. How are you guys? Let's get our browser up here and get ready for some reading. How's that sound? Oh boy, the boys are just full of it today. I'm just saying, if you were with me on the other live, you know this. Hey, Cherish63. All right, you guys, we are starting with page 50. And we're going to go with the first complete paragraph. So starting on number 4. Direct connection element of Denny. Are you ready, you guys? Hi, Karen Guy. Everybody ready for this? This is the last little bit of a 4-part series we've done. Now, we are going to be doing from time to time throughout the week. We'll be getting together in the evening for those of you that want to talk about the Avery case, because we're going to be seeing a lot of change, I feel. And it's about time, right? Lordy, lordy. Okay, hi, Sarah. Hello, Sarah Fagan. How are you, Mom? Lovely. Okay, number 4. Direct connection element of Denny. Let me enlarge this a tiny bit for us blind people. And let's see, can I? Yes, I can even, I say that. Maybe I can. Okay, that's all I get. Can I do it that way? I can. There we go. All right, we will start. Jennifer Swain, lovely. Hello. Good to see you all. So, number 4, direct connection element of Denny. Now, my Velociraptors, aka Jack Russells, are playing in the background, and they do play rough. And they are playing, and the hard sound you hear is a moan. And I just can't limit my dogs to being trained for a life, I guess. So, bear with me. No bright lines can be drawn as to what constitutes a third party's direct connection to a crime. Rather, circuit courts must assess the pro-offered evidence in conjunction with all other evidence to determine whether, under the totality of the circumstances, the evidence suggests that a third party perpetrator actually committed the crime. In its opinion, the circuit court argued, quote, forgive me, the Zawinski affidavit, taken as true for the purpose of this motion, directly links Bobby to possession of the victim's vehicle. However, possession of the vehicle does not directly link Bobby to the homicide itself. Then, hold on a minute. Guys, quiet please, I'm trying to work. Then, the circuit court highlighted the fact that, quote, Mr. Zawinski's affidavit does not mention seeing Bobby with the key to the victim's car. It ignored the fact that when Mrs. Halbach's vehicle was found by law enforcement and volunteer searchers, it was locked. Clearly, Bobby had the key to the vehicle. Further, the circuit court ignored that all of the forensic evidence used to convict Avery was discovered after Bobby was seen moving Miss Halbach's vehicle onto the Avery property. What are you guys feeling right now? Let me hear your thoughts. In State versus Williams, the appellate court found a direct connection between the perpetrator of the murder and the fact that he had possession of the victim's vehicle several days after her murder. Specifically, the court explained. Okay, just stop right there. A good example in this situation would be that we had a missing Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie had her van, right? I mean, Seriously, that's an excellent example. If the person is missing, reported missing, and everybody on the green earth is looking for this person, dead or alive, and then it's a few days later and nobody's found this person, and their vehicle is seen with someone else, do you think that's a big deal? I do. According to the court explained, we agree with the state that from all of these circumstances, under common sense, non technical approach, a reasonable police officer would draw the reasonable inference that both Williams and Armstead had been in possession of Brown's stolen car. There was probable cause to believe that both Williams and Armstead probably had committed a crime involving the murder victim's stolen car. State versus Williams says, applying this common sense approach here, the Zawinski evidence, stop right there. See, that's the problem, Zellner, and this is directly at you. And I love you, and you're doing a hell of a good job. But why in the hell are you acting like Wisconsin, the state of Wisconsin, has this so-called common sense? You act like that's something they should have. They don't. They don't. Just saying. The dude butt dialed Zellner. Do y'all remember that? The prosecution accidentally butt dials Zellner and is talking about trying to figure out where the hell the bones are and if the bag is there or not. Do y'all remember that? I mean, seriously. State versus Williams. Applying this common sense approach here, the Zawinski evidence provides a direct connection, that is, Bobby being witnessed in possession of Miss Halbach's vehicle, to Bobby having committed the murder of Miss Halbach and planting the evidence to frame Mr. Avery. Rather than recognizing the significance of the evidence that Bobby had possession of and thus access to Miss Halbach's vehicle, the circuit court required Mr. Zawinski to see Bobby in possession of the electronics inside Miss Halbach's vehicle. However, a reasonable inference can easily be made that because the electronics had not yet been found by law enforcement when Bobby was seen by Mr. Zawinski with Mrs. Halbach's vehicle, they were still inside the vehicle. In State versus Knapp, vacated on other grounds, the Wisconsin Supreme Court found that in light of Denny and Chambers, hearsay evidence implicating a potential third party in the victim's murder was probably admitted because it established the requisite, quote, direct connection pursuant to Denny. That was a long time ago, Sarah. Sarah says Bobby and his buddy did it. They had the evidence. And I think you're talking about Mike O. You could be. During the trial, the defendant sought, now this is a Knapp case, all right? In Knapp, the defendant was the last person seen with the victim as they went out together that night. During trial, the defendant sought to introduce evidence of other potential suspects, including the victim's husband, Bruner, and the woman, and he was having an affair with Mass on the night that the victim was murdered. Specifically, the defense sought to introduce hearsay evidence through the testimony of a witness, Farrell, who was close friends with a man named Borchard, whom Mass had lived with at the time, but had since passed away. Through Farrell, the defense sought to introduce statements made to him by Borchard regarding his observation of Mass's behavior right after the homicide and his observation of Bruner's truck at the Mass's residence after the murder. The Wisconsin Supreme Court found that the third part of the Denny analysis, the quote connection, was at issue. However, ultimately, it found that the evidence supplied the missing direct connection using the following reasons. The evidence at issue in the Knapp case connects the third parties, Bruner and Mass, to the crime in a numerous of ways. Number one, it establishes that Bruner lied to the investigators about his whereabouts at the time of the murder. Number two, Mass was with Bruner at the time his wife was murdered, and Mass was observed a short time after Miss Bruner's death carrying a paper bag and getting into Bruner's waiting truck. And three, most importantly, the evidence puts Bruner in Watertown in relative proximity to the location where the homicide occurred and near the time of the murder. Based upon that information, we hold that the circuit court correctly determined that the evidence established Bruner's motive, opportunity, and connection to the crime. Further, we hold that the circuit court applied the proper legal standard and appropriately exercised its discretion in admitting this evidence under Denny. Wow, where's the goat? All right, you guys, if you're new to us, we're going to hit the goat, and that is our mascot. It's a loud scream. So, headphone warning. 3, 2, 1. That's Billy the goat. You have been formally introduced. If the same reasoning were applied. Wait, did I skip something? I think I did. State versus Knapp 2003. The court found that based upon these three inferences listed above, the hearsay evidence established Bruner's connection to the crime and also fulfilled the, quote, motive and, quote, opportunity prongs of Denny, which it did not even dispute. If the same reasoning were applied to Mr. Avery's case, the circuit court would have found far stronger evidence of a direct connection to allow the defense to present Bobby as a potential third-party suspect pursuant to Denny. At a bare minimum, the Zawinski evidence connects Bobby to Miss Halbach's murder in all the same ways that the hearsay evidence did to the third party in the Knapp case. 1. It establishes that Bobby lied to investigators about his whereabouts during times relevant to determining Mrs. Halbach's murder. Parentheses, noting, of course, that the exact time of Miss Halbach's murder is not known. Number 2, like Mass, who was observed carrying a paper bag after the murder, which the Supreme Court found was material, Bobby was seen with the victim's vehicle after Miss Halbach's murder. And 3, the evidence certainly put Bobby in close proximity to the location where the homicide is alleged to have occurred. And that, combined with the evidence showing that Bobby, according to his own testimony, was one of the last people to see Miss Halbach alive, would have satisfied Denny had the circuit court applied only the reasoning in Knapp. The Supreme Court of Wisconsin offers an illustration to exemplify what type of evidence can show a, quote, direct connection to a degree of certainty required by the legitimate tendency test to admit evidence regarding a, quote, third-party suspect. By illustration, where it is shown that a third party not only had the motive and opportunity to commit the crime, but also was placed in such proximity to the crime as to show he may have been the guilty party, the evidence is admissible. Nailed it. Even if the circuit's court numerous factual errors were correct and Brendan Dassey was, quote, directly linked by forensic evidence to the murder and his, quote, confession was admissible evidence against Mr. Avery, this still does not allow the circuit court to dismiss the powerful evidence of a third party's direct connection to the murder. Overwhelming evidence against the defendant may not serve as a basis for excluding evidence of a third party's opportunity or direct connection to the crime. State v. Wilson, 2015. Quote, by evaluating the strength of only one party's evidence, no logical conclusion can be reached regarding the strength of contrary evidence offered by the other side to refute or cast doubt. Damn. Jennifer says, love Billy. I have to have Billy at times. Army Nurse sent that to me one time, and she said, maybe you can make this a sound effect on the channel. And then we started using it, and we've used it ever since. All right, you guys, are you ready for conclusion? Hey, Tracy Faulkner, you're never late, lovely. Just go watch replay. We're here. We're here. We are on the conclusion of page 54, and then we can come up to top and get ready to talk a little bit tonight about, what your theories are, what your feelings are, and I want to talk a little bit about the Stephen Avery case. It says, conclusion. For the reasons stated herein, Mr. Avery respectfully requests that this court grant him one of the following alternative remedies. Number one, reverse the orders denying post-conviction relief and grant an evidentiary hearing. Number two, reverse the judgments of the conviction and the order denying post-conviction relief and remand for a new trial. Number three, grant any other relief this court deems appropriate, dated this 12th day of January 2024. Respectfully signed electronically by Kathleen T. Zellner and Stephen Richards. And that's that. That is that. So, it only took us 4 nights to read it. In the old days, we would have just went for 4 hours straight, right? I want to know how many of you feel that Bobby would have killed Teresa Halbach all on his own. Like, the murder part. Like, he did it, and then he got an accessory to help. How many of you feel that way? Give me a 1 if you feel Bobby did it on his own, but he had help covering it up. Give me a 2 if you think Bobby and other people took part in the murder of Halbach. Give me a 3 if you still aren't sure Bobby had anything to do with it, but you do feel that he may have been coerced into following along with this and just hiding the car. So Karen Guy feels Bobby did it alone, okay? And then we have the part where Bobby's seen pushing the RAV4, and we have this other person, which I've heard rumors that Zellner thinks that could be possibly, the accessory could be Mike Osmondson. Okay, so we have 3 people, interior family, Sarah, Fagan, and Nettie, at this time that feel that Bobby and other people may have done this. I don't feel either of those. I feel number 3, actually. So we're going to be talking about Christine Rudy. Have you guys ever heard of Christine Rudy? Show me if you've heard of Christine Rudy. Now, she was a young woman. Young, barely 18, and 6 months pregnant. Anybody heard of her? Well, her murder took place at the same time that they were investigating Teresa Halbach. And the anthropologist in the Teresa Halbach case, Leslie, what was it? Einstein? I can't remember. I should brush up on that. Her name. Let's Google it. That'll be a good... I know it's Leslie. Okay. Anthropologist Stephen Avery. Let's just look it up. I probably didn't spell it right. Anthropologist. Do I really got to go to the journal? Okay, we're going to Milwaukee Journal. Leslie Eisenberg. There it is. Now I won't forget it for another 10 years. Okay, so Leslie Eisenberg. Let me show you. Let's do this. We're going to look up the same thing we just did. Okay, we're going to leave that on the screen so you can see right here. Forensic anthropologist Leslie Eisenberg, right? She was the one that had the bones. And there was, if you're not familiar with the case, the bones are the most important part of this case other than the RAV, okay? Now, let me come over here. Christine Rudy. Anthropologist. All right. Shooty, blah, blah, blah. Let me see. All right, here it is. Get ready. Oh, private site. Ugh. Look, right here. Can you see this, what I'm highlighting? Do I need to bring it over a little bit? All right. Christine Rudy and the anthropologist that handles the bones is Dr. Leslie Eisenberg, right? And in Stephen's case, forensic anthropologist Leslie Eisenberg. All right? Now, Christine Rudy was missing to start with. Then it was alleged that her husband shot her in the head. Okay? Well, what was the story with Teresa Halbach? What did they say? What did they allege that Stephen did to her? Shot her in the head. Okay. Let's go back to Christine Rudy. So, allegedly, her husband cut her body into pieces. Dismembered her. Okay? What do we have in the Stephen Avery case? Same time. Now, this isn't across the world. There's only, like 120 miles between the two locations, if that. I'm perched right in between them. I could literally go either place. And so in Teresa Halbach's case, all the bones had cut marks, right? Kerf marks, saw blade marks. Not all, but the pelvic bone and so forth. All right, then we have the bones that are burned. Well, guess what? Christine Rudy's husband, after he dismembered her, actually burned her bones, allegedly. All right? Are you following me? And then that's what happened in Teresa Halbach's case. Now, what's really weird is I'm close enough that I grocery shop in the town where Christine Rudy is from. And I met her twice in my life when she was about, I want to say 16, a couple years before the murder. She was picking up some weed. That's it, just some weed. Anyway, and at that time I smoked. And so, let me put it this way. Her torso, just her torso at 6 months pregnant, not her pelvic, none of that's ever been really talked about where her pelvic stuff went, her pelvic bone or none of that. But her torso was found right at the time that they had Brendan Dassey in there and coerced a confession out of the 16-year-old boy with language difficulty. And so when Christine Rudy's stuff got found, the torso and so forth, all of a sudden they had so much more info over here. But what's really interesting is Christine Rudy was killed on 11/12, they say, November 12th. And in the Teresa Halbach case, they're claiming that she was killed on the 3rd or October 31st or whatever you want to call it. But it would just have been 12 days earlier. 12 days earlier, Teresa Halbach gets killed. And they have nothing. No bones, nothing. They find nothing. Nothing. And then it's really interesting that when you're reading that part, and I would have to go get it, and I don't have it, but they find something in a field of a body part, and they freak out. They call off everything at that moment. On the 12th of November, in the Avery case, they call off they're done forever searching for Teresa Halbach. They found something in the field. Okay? It's in our evidence as BZ is the name. BZ. All right. So let me explain this. Those bones in the Teresa Halbach case didn't show up until we had bones from Christine Rudy's case. The same person is working both cases, is handling the going from Christine Rudy over here to Teresa Halbach. Now you tell me, why do you think the state of Wisconsin gave away Teresa Halbach's bones? Really? Get real. I mean, you want to call me a conspiracy theorist maybe or something like that? Fine. But I didn't fucking make it up that the state gave away the evidence. And it's Norm Gahn, the one that literally created the law and got the acclimates and all the shit about how wonderful he is and how brilliant he is, because he set that law in motion that says anybody convicted of a crime where there's biological evidence that it must be maintained safely for all future post-conviction relief and so forth until you either die or you get out of jail. You get out of prison, you're cleared, right? He's the one that signed away the bones after he made the law. Hey, Jersey gal. So, I want us to be looking at Christine Moody a little bit longer. I know the case very intimately. And she was abandoned along the way down as they were going on this trip before she was killed. They were on a trip, all right, that she was killed on. So they left Thorpe, Wisconsin, Stanley Thorpe, right in there. It's right in between the two towns. Anyway, they left there and they went south of the state where they were very near, very close to Manitowoc area. Very close to those areas. And I think of Maribel Caves. And remember the stuff they found? Well, there's never been anybody to prove to me in anything other than they said they found Christine Moody on the side of the road, not far from her, let me see. I can't remember the guy's name that did the Sean. There it is, Sean Rudy. So Sean Rudy, the husband, and they were newly married, and Heather Tisling or Tisler or whatever her name was with Christine when she was killed. And they were all very, very heavily into drugs, like heavy-duty, hardcore drugs, not just weed. Like they were shooting up heroin and all kinds of stuff, and they fully admitted it. And Sean would even admit that while Christine was sleeping, he would, how do I want to put this strongly without getting a strike? He would administer the same process of getting the drug into him. He would do that to Christine when she was sleeping so she wouldn't know about it, hoping she would miscarry. That's what he was doing to her. He says that. Heather says that. They admit that. And, she was 21. I said 18. So, she was first in below zero temperature in nothing but a little windbreaker and some tennis shoes. Sean and Heather, like, dropped her off in the middle of nowhere. And Christine literally survived. She crossed over fields and slopes and in the dark and made it to a church overnight. She liked to froze to death. And she was there all day. And I even think she stayed a night. And she had nobody on the planet. She had nobody. She didn't know what to do. And she was trying to get a hold of Heather and Sean, who had literally left her behind, which would have been the best thing in the world if she had never got a hold of them, I thought, in the beginning. And then I got to thinking, wouldn't that be convenient if Sean and Heather had not went ever and got Christine? Wouldn't it be convenient if they found that girl in that neck of the woods when they're trying to find a victim to replace if they fake this whole thing? So I went and got the DNA report from Christine Moody, and I went and got the mother, and I went and got Teresa Halbach's and Teresa Halbach's mother, so the mitochondrial DNA. Y'all are going to be blown away. Now, there is one little tiny mark on the mothers that isn't on a couple of the others. And I had a DNA expert try to blow smoke up my ass and tell me that mattered so much that it couldn't be possible. But then I did further research and I found out this person couldn't be trusted that was telling me this. And they were actually planted to be in my group to derail our process in this whole thing, to really, when we got to looking at Christine Rudy's DNA and Teresa Halbach's DNA, is so unbelievably close, if not right on target, truth train coming through, that I have yet to this day to been able to prove that it's not the same bones in the box with Eisenhower. And that could be very well where we don't smell tires, because Sean Rudy allegedly, if it was Sean, but Christine Rudy's bones were allegedly burned with fluid, like a lighter fluid, and it didn't work at all. So, hey Sheila Smokey. I gotta grab a drink and wet my whistle. I don't know if I still have so much of my research, because there was a time that I just like got so sick of this case, because I felt like it's never going to get solved after I realized that Christine Rudy's let's see, Rubber Ducky personal files, let's go the channel, let me look here. Nope, not there. Hold on, y'all, I'm looking. Could be under this. Christine Rudy field trip. Oh, this, you guys. Let me see if this will pull up. Let me show you this. All right. So let me get this a little smaller. Let's take it over here. Let's put that down so y'all can see good. All right, where are we? About right there? Oh, dang it. This thing went goofy on me. Every time I touch the top, it jumps. All right, so what this is, if I can grab it. Okay. So I went over to where this happened to Christine Rudy. And this is literally... Gretchen, why are you crying? Quentin, can you let Gretchen in your room, please? I'm trying to do a live, and she's just crying at your door. So, County Highway M&M and Rogers Creek Avenue, allegedly, according to their PCA and Christine Rudy's case, was where she was killed. So, I don't live very far from there at all. I mean, it's literally very close. And so, I took a bunch of pictures. I went there, and now I went there by my... Okay, so a friend took me, but then left me there so I could be alone for a little bit. And I took some pictures of the area. And this is the exact location, I kid you not. You're looking at the exact location that she was allegedly killed at. And, who's the big fat troll, Sarah? Do we have a troll? Do we have a troll? I don't know. I don't think I have any mods on. Well, wait a minute. Interior Families is here. Okay. He's got it. He's got it. And Sassy's here. Well, maybe not. Her son's ankle. His tibia broke. Okay. So this is where she was killed. And allegedly. I don't believe it. I don't believe that. I'm just going really fast. I was taking pictures. Like things like butterflies. I was out there for a while alone with Christine's energy. That's a friend of mine, Becca. She was the one that drove me. That was a bullet sign. Like, that's at the end of the road. It's covered in bullets. So I'm going to get you up here where you can... I took pictures of the house. And it's very important, because if you're familiar with Steve Avery, you're going to be like, what in the actual hell? All right. So that there is a house. This is a house right here that Sean and Christine were living in at the time. Oh, the big fat troll was a DNA specialist. Yes, Sarah. Yes. And he gained my trust over months, and I believed him, and then I found out he was a plant. I didn't know it. Okay, and it was just basically to get me off of the whole Christine Rudy thing, and I had no idea. So this is where Sean and Christine Rudy lived at the time that she was murdered. And I went here. We found a cool car and took some pictures. And here's the church that her funeral was at. There's me at the time. Took some pictures. Okay, wait a minute. What's this one? Why is it buffering? Might have a movie or two in here. I don't know. This must be a movie too. That's Becca. That's my friend that's with me. Oh, the butterfly. This butterfly followed me for a quarter mile. So I took a picture of it. I know I'm not showing you much because they're actual videos, and I would want to review them. Okay, this is Thorpe, the town that she lived in, and this is me turning down that road. Becca's driving. I'm filming, and then we come up, and we're right here at that house, and that's where it is, literally. Now I'm gonna stop here because this turns into an interview. Some old guy comes up and he's like, "What you doing looking at that house?" Not this house, but the one before it. And I tell him that, is he familiar with Christine Rudy? And he tells me, yeah, he was actually interviewed during her murder trial. He was interviewed for what he knew because he had some involvement. And I was like, oh, wow. And I have this all on interview. And then he like tried to get me to come with him. And Becca's like, we can't. I'm like, no. He's like, can you come back another day? Now, we don't have that internet and stuff out by us. We're just way out in the woods. It's just me and my brothers. But you come out there and we'll tell you the whole story of what happened to Christine Rudy. I'm like, oh, yeah, sure. Well, no. Never. So, that was that. Yeah, but I do have those interviews. And as we dig into the case, I'll start bringing out a few pieces of stuff. But I want you to do a little research. Read some articles about Christine Rudy. And then also, I do a video over on my, let's look at this. Maybe I can pull it up on the browser. Let's get our browser up, okay? Let's close this and let's see. We could use this one. Let's see. Christine Rudy and Teresa Hallbach. And yeah, let's go Carmen on there and see what we get up. Yeah, my video, Rubber Ducky, right here. So this is a Teresa Hallbach, Christine Rudy. And that was by that DNA guy. And this is comparing the DNA. And so go watch that. It's the DNA comparison. And he tries so hard to tell us it doesn't work. I don't buy it. I've looked at his reasoning. He's full of shit. My personal opinion. So if you go to the videos, I'll see what we would have. Okay, YouTube. This is Mind Chalk. That's a good one. Dominic's Kitchen is another one. Here's one of mine, Rubber Ducky. Here's one of mine, Christine Rudy. Rudy was killed just 12 days after Teresa is reported missing. 9 days after Carmen Botwell is found dead. YouTube, Rubber Ducky. Here's another one. Christine Rudy, 11/12/05, murder in central Wisconsin. The similarities do not stop there. Christine Rudy was killed just 12 days. There's another one, right? Mind Shock. And then me, Rubber Ducky, the shotgun wedding, the Christine Rudy murder. I did a lot of them. Rubber Ducky, ma'am, YouTube. There it is. That's us. That's my other channel. So, go check. Ooh, that looked like a good video to watch. Look at that. God, the thing is, you guys are watching this on ma'am. I watched this stuff back in 2005 when it was live on the television. I kid you not. Look at this old thing. Wonder if I'd get it copyright if I played it. I'll go ahead and get some stuff up so we can have some discussions about it. So, yeah. And I think it's funny because Carmen Botwell never did have, Teresa Hallbach never did have glasses on in any photograph she was photographed in. Never did. But BB, who was a really good friend of mine on our Rubber Ducky channel, she came to me one time and she's like, I said to her, I wonder what Teresa Halbach would look like with glasses. And BB's like, let's find out. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And she came back and she had used a app, and she had made the glasses go on Teresa's face. And so she created this back to back you're seeing right here. This one here. She created that. I gave her the two pictures. She put the glasses on Teresa. And now that picture is like, people think that came out of like, you know, something to do with ma'am or something. No, that came out of BB and me. That's the truth. And when you look at serial killers, that's the question. If Bobby really did kill someone, did he actually kill Christine Rudy? Because he does have scratches down his back. There is blood in that wrap. And Teresa Halbach's Social Security number still active. Is that not crazy? Gretchen, stop whining when I work, please. You only do it when I'm working because you're jealous. Now stop. And I know that. I know the game. Because you quit whining when I'm done. She's been terrible today. I don't know if it's because the dogs can't go outside as much because it's freezing or what. All right, Gretch. I'm petting her, so hopefully she's quiet. She doesn't have to go potty. She already did that. She just wants me to hold her the whole time. All right, my lovely. So with that, if you are interested in doing a little deep dive in the Stephen Avery case, then pay attention for next week. We'll wait a few nights. We'll pick one night a week where we get on there, and hopefully enough people will show up that it makes it worth our time. I hope so, because I would like to spread awareness about Stephen Avery. But I thought I'd share you a little bit about that Christine Rudy theory that I have. And when you really look at the case and you really compare it, it's almost as if, I never did show you. Let me look at something real quick. Let me see if I can just scroll down to find his house. Way out in the middle of the country. I may only have that in a video, though. Yep, that's in a video. Okay. So when you look at Sean Rudy, the man that killed Christine, he's in his mom's trailer, and it has a little side garage not attached. And allegedly, he burnt Christine right behind that shed. Does that sound familiar? A trailer with a little shed, a little garage, and then burning a body behind it? Does that sound familiar to you guys? I'm just saying. There's a lot of bullshit in this case. There's a lot. But yeah, there you go, my lovelies. Interior Family Studio says definitely. Sarah says serial killer, it sounds like to me. Creepy, right? All right, my loves, I appreciate your time. I am so grateful that you jump on here late night with me even. I mean, that's so sweet of you guys. And thank you for supporting Stephen Avery and Brendan Dassey. Let's do this again next week if you're into it. You can always email me if you're for it. Be like, hey, I'm for it. rubberducky2005 at yahoo.com. And with that, let's get our music going. I know, Gretch, you've had enough of YouTube. I get it. She's like, quit playing on that microphone and get over here and play with me. All right, my lovelies, with that, I appreciate you. I greatly do. I love you to the moon and back. And if you didn't do the crime, you sure the hell should not do the time. Love you guys. Peace out. Thank you all.